Happy New Year, everyone. We're here with Kaitlin Butts, and her album Roadrunner is my pick for album of the year. Caitlin, how are you doing?
That's so good. I'm doing great.
The song we just heard was called Other Girls. There are quite a few tracks along the lines of this on the album where you get a little impulsive and dangerous. Tell me
Yeah.
about getting into that character.
Um, I wouldn't say that it's necessarily a character. I feel like Danger is my middle name. Um, no, I feel growing up listening to the songs that I did, I feel like I identify so much with these like can I say badass on this? I feel very closely associated with like more dangerous music and um identify it with it quite a bit.
Ever act out on that in real life?
I never have. But I've thought about it.
Oh, I
But
think
we
most
can't,
people have thought about it.
we've all thought about it. But I think my mom always taught me to be the bigger person and walk away. And I think the best way for me to get anger out or ill feelings towards anybody is to write a song about it. And then I get to profit off of it, which is even better. I don't profit if I go to jail. And I'm gonna let God fix it, because if I fix it, I'm going to jail.
So I like this song in particular because you're flipping the script. Society tends to not be so kind to women who go out and get what they want. You're saying, you know what, go for it.
Absolutely. I think that we get, as girls, get told a lot, like things that we should and shouldn't do, and or things that we should let come to us. But there's nothing that I've ever gotten in my life that I haven't charged for it myself and gotten it for myself. And that sometimes includes men or job opportunities. And I think if you go after what you want, then you could get it. If you just sit around and wait for it to happen, you control your own destiny.
So on a lot of these tracks, you have, a nice traditional sound, heavy on the Western themes, but on tracks like this, you throw in that sharp rock edge. Tell me about developing the sound for this album.
I think a lot of um the whole album. I think that sharp rock edge has come from a lot of different areas from my life. Growing up, I listened to musical theater music. I listened to rock music. I listened to emo music. I listened to country music, pop music, all kinds. Um, but I always like loved artists like Fiona Apple, Kurt Cobain, Led Zeppelin, Kaleo, Avril Lavigne, people that had just kind of like a harder edge to them. Um, and I've always gravitated towards that kind of music. And then growing up, I went to a college called the Academy of Contemporary Music, which is the School of Rock of Oklahoma City. It's the CEO is the Flaming Lips manager. And so coming from that School of Rock area, I got so many great influences and artists that I had never heard of before, and going to that school, and um, I just really fell in love even more with like the rich history of rock music, um, and bringing that into country, which has so many rock elements, that I feel like people like Miranda Lambert pull into their music. Um, and I feel like I wanted to bring in every single part of me, that's all encapsulating like all the kinds of music that I like country, like musical theater, like rock, like songwriter folky music, and put it all into one package. Because I think being authentic, I really wanted on this album for people to see all different sides of me. And I feel like I would have been lying to say like I grew up just listening to like Hank Williams. That's not who I was and or who I am. I grew up listening to all kinds, and I just want with every project to show another side of me and be really, really authentic.
All right. Next song I want to talk about is Come Rest Your Head. Um, Absolutely timeless. One of the best duets I've heard in a long time. Um,
Thank you.
what's it like bringing Vince Gill into the project?
It's weird to say. I've just opened my Spotify Wrapped to see that Vince Gill that song was one of my top songs because I listen to it so often because hearing his voice on it catches me off guard every single time, and it's a little hard to believe. So I listen to it quite often just to remind myself, like, you had Vince Gill sing on one of your songs. Um, that came about. I met him at the Grand Ole Opry backstage. He was during my part of the night, my performance. He was sitting behind me in the church pews, like strumming his guitar and watching my whole set, which is so rare for, you go play the Opry, and you have to be cool like backstage. You can't, act a fool back there. You might pass by somebody that you know or that you like really, really look up to, but you don't imagine that they're gonna sit behind you as you're performing and watch you play your songs. And I got off stage, my manager was like, "Did you see Vince Gill back there just like watching you the whole time?" I was like, "No." And then um he gets up and sings his songs, and right after he sings "Go Rest High on That Mountain" to the Grand Ole Opry stage, he gets off stage and walks right up to me and goes, "Hey Kaitlin, I'm Vince. Give me a hug, Okie." And I'm like, "What in the world? Like that is I that's not real. That's a hallucination." But he was so kind, and I had "Come Rest Your Head" on my pillow, and I knew that my album was going to be Oklahoma themed, and so Oklahoma the musical themed, and so I was like, I need to have an Oklahoma artist on there. Who should I have? And my manager was like, you could ask Vince Gill. He seemed, he said if you ever need anything, just holler. And so I was like, okay, Vince, we'll hit up Vince Gill to sing on my song, whatever. You know, that will not happen, but okay. And he immediately accepted, and it took a minute to get the song back because he's so busy with the Eagles and it was the holidays. But when I got that track in my inbox, I like had to pull over my car and because I would have probably gotten in a wreck. But that was how that song came about, and I feel really lucky to have him on the album.
I, yeah, I think you are lucky he's Vince Gill. I mean,
It's insane.
um, talk to me a bit about that bittersweet yearning on that track, how you developed something that both solves all your problems and can never really work out.
Yeah, I think there is a bittersweetness to that song, and I kind of have like I feel like there's two people in that like two there's several different kind of scenarios that you could like hear that song. You could hear it as somebody who has kind of like a midnight flavor piece that comes over at night, or for me, I feel like I wrote it for like not being able to see my husband very often, and whenever we do get together, like it's a warm and happy experience. But it could be kind of like modern or not modern, another version of Casey Musgraves. It is what it is. Um, it just depends on how you look at it. But I didn't want to narrow it to just kind of um, one situation because it's not how I feel. But
Yeah, it must be rough being on the road so often. I can sort of see right now you're on the road.
I'm actually in Nashville. Right now. I'm in my car because it's the quietest place. I'm actually home for the week, but I leave tomorrow to go back on the road for 2 more weeks, and then I am done. And it has been we played around 150 to 160 shows this year, and it's the most shows I've ever played, and more than anyone should play. But it does get really hard, and I miss home quite often, but whenever we do get to be home together, it totally makes it all worth it. And And then in a few days, like I'm ready to get back out there and perform because it's what I love to do.
Uh, okay, take me to a show and how you are able to switch between a song like Hunt You Down and then go to something like Come Rest Your Head and how do you manage the mood at your shows?
Um, I think a lot of it has to do like how I can switch is just a lot of musical theater background and getting into character and like putting myself where I was when I wrote the song, visualizing who I'm singing it to, or even looking around the people, in the room with me and what they might be singing it about. Because I think people will create their own perspectives on it. But I really think you just got to hone in on, and focus on exactly what you're singing about at that moment. And I don't know if I'd put Hunt You Down and Come Rest Your Head too close to each other because it's kind of those are two different vibes.
All right, let's hear Come Rest Your Head, and we're going to be right back.